Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning. My name is Darren Sharif. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the Urban League of Essex County. But for the sake of this incredible event, I'm the director of the Tech House STEM program. And I want to welcome everybody here for this important occasion and this incredible partnership that we're privileged to have with the City of Newark and Invest Newark. And so as I am the least important person that you will hear from, I'm going to quickly shift it over to some important people who are going to speak directly to the importance of digital inclusion for people of color in communities like this. And it is because of this partnership with the city that young people, old people, and everybody in between will be able to enter this tech house, and whether or not it's robotics, 3D printing, networking, they will have the fastest internet in this region, but more importantly, for a price that they can afford. And you have to have the technology and you have to have the infrastructure, and this partnership gives us both. So with that said, I will turn it over to Mr. Burnell Hall, who is the spear leader of this important venture. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Darren. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful fall day in the city of Newark. Today marks yet another demonstration of Newark's leadership in innovation, equitable economic growth, and education. We're celebrating the historic opening of the Urban League of Essex County's Tech House here in the wonderful Fairmont Heights neighborhood, city of Newark. Over the last 20 years, we've all heard quite a bit about bridging the digital divide, but through the partnership of the Urban League of Essex County, led by Ms. Vivian Frazier, the Urban League's national organization, led by Mr. Mark Muriel, and of course, the Honorable Mayor Raz J. Baraka, we are actually building a bridge over the digital divide. Yay. Most importantly, we're really proud of our partnership between Invest Newark, Gig Zero, and specifically the residents of Fairmont Heights, believing in this project, believing in the expansion of fiber throughout the city of Newark, not just downtown and commercial buildings, but giving access to low-income residents and working-class citizens so they themselves have the opportunity to research STEM research, do STEM research, and also gain computer literacy in the comfort of their own neighborhoods. So I just want to thank you all for joining us today and thank all the great partners on this wonderful, wonderful initiative. And with that, I am going to ask our wonderful Mayor Raz J. Baraka, who has been a stalwart of equitable economic growth, innovation, and technology throughout his time here in Newark, to come up and to give us a couple of words. Mayor Baraka.
All right. Thank you. Really quickly, just like to thank, of course, Mark Muriel and Vivian Cox-Frazier, who does all the incredible work for us in the city of Newark through the Urban League. The Tech House is incredible innovation. I was here when they were doing the training, had young people in here training, learning how to, in fact, redevelop and build in here. Now I get the opportunity to see it as a finished product, as a tech house. It is also appropriate because now, as was already stated, as the digital divide became more and more apparent during COVID, we began to use some of the money that we're getting from the federal government to begin to build our fiber out, to build more hubs throughout the city, to make sure there was access to technology and access to broadband to folks in all the public housing, to folks in all the Newark public schools, to neighborhoods that don't have access as they would have in the past. And so now this kind of partnership is exactly what we're trying to promote in the city of Newark. over and over and over again, you've heard countless stories about how young people could not get online when they were home because in school trying to do virtual learning, or folks having trouble with their jobs, staying home because there was no access to broadband, no access to fiber, no hubs, no opportunity for them to participate in schooling and education and employment and all of these things. So this is a step in the right direction here in the city of Newark. So thank you to the Urban League for always being a great partner of ours. Thank you to Invest Newark for sponsoring and being a part of this and helping us push fiber into our community where it's deeply needed by all of the residents of our city. So thank you. I look forward to going inside.
Yay. Great, man.
Are you introducing? Oh, okay, that's fine. Good morning. I'm Vivian Cox Fraser, President CEO of the Urban League of Essex County. And we're pleased to welcome you to the Urban League's Tech House, and more importantly, or equally important, to welcome you to an expansion of Newark Fiber into the neighborhood of Fairmont. Now, the house is really representative of the Urban League's work, the holistic approach that we take to community development. And I'm going to tell you a little story about the house because we came to this house because we were helping a family that was going through foreclosure. It was an elderly couple that owned this house. And our housing counseling staff came to help them. But they came, like many people, when they're seeking in foreclosure, they keep it quiet. They didn't tell anybody. And when they came to see us, they were so far into foreclosure, we really couldn't help them. And besides, it also shows the example of elderly families in our communities that have owned their homes for decades and then find that it's more than they can sustain. The house was falling apart, literally. The back of the house, water damage, literally falling apart. But they love this house. And so we work with them to help them, leave fairly. And they left. But then the bank took it. And then we worked and got the house from the neighborhood community, the National Community Stabilization Trust Fund. So we wanted this house because we wanted to show that this type of property exists in Newark, and it deserves to be restored, just like our neighborhoods deserve to be restored, deserve investments, just like the people in this community deserve investment. And so the broadband investment is important, because access to broadband is a civil rights issue. And the people in this community have suffered over decades of lack of investment. And we wanted to show that investment needs to be made here. So we speak loudly on behalf of this community, and we use our influence and the resources that we can gain to invest in this community and in the people here. And so the investment of broadband is just like electricity. How many of us use broadband and don't even think about it? We have access, we use it for streaming, for research. We take it for granted. But COVID has shown us that we cannot take it for granted in our communities. These children are suffering, have suffered for 18 months. Just imagine a 6-year-old when COVID hit, starting to read. Over a year and a half, 2 years in, the child is now 8 years old. What has the impact of COVID been to our community? And we know that families can't all, we've done a survey of COVID's impact. And we'll ask people, and they say, oh yeah, I have internet. Okay, so they think they have internet. They may have it on their phone. But we found that having it on your phone is not enough. You can't do homework on your phone. You can't do your job on your phone. And so really the broadband access is important. And bringing it to this community is the Urban League's commitment that we're here to not only, as Burnell said, not just address the digital divide, bridge it. Because I like to think of technology as not only as a great equalizer. Just imagine, I heard of someone who went on YouTube and learned how to swim. Now I thought, wow, I'm not going to do that. But anyway, really, young people, older people, anyway, you want to learn something, we want you to come to the Tech House and learn it. So it's about expanding opportunity, expanding economic opportunity, and that's what the Tech House is. And certainly we couldn't do it without great partners like the City of Newark and the Mayor Raz J. Baraka. This house was a dream, but we couldn't do it without his support, without the city's support, and also without investor support. So we benefit from something called the Neighborhood Revitalization Tax Credit Program, which is administered from the state of New Jersey. And we were able to use the investments from our partners like Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield invests in the program, Valley National Bank, PSE&G. Companies invest their taxes into the tax credit program to help neighborhoods revitalize. And this is an example of how we utilize those resources. And as the mayor indicated, we had a construction training program, and that's who worked in this house. And I also like to recognize Lenny Robbins is here, who was retired recently as the director of real estate for the Urban League. So just give him a hand because he said, I do real estate, I'll do training. No, you're at the Urban League, you're going to do some training. So we had construction trainees and everything in here. And I'd like to recognize Darren Sharif, who indicated he was the director of the Tech House. Actually, he does a lot of things for the Urban League. But when we got the house, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just know I wanted to be an asset in this community, to be a beacon of hope. And it was his vision that it would become this tech house. And in fact, he was almost like Joe D. I don't know if you know Joe D. when he had his vocational school. He would take that picture around, show everybody for years, right? And Darren had a picture saying it was a tech house. I'm like, how'd that happen? But it shows that great ideas, great people coming together can make things happen. And certainly we appreciate the partnership of everyone here. And I wouldn't be... I'm just really proud to have Mark Morial, the president of the National Urban League, here today. He's my leader, and he and I started in this movement pretty close to the same amount of time, but I just want to say how much I respect him, his leadership, and just let him know that I know that this week is actually the week of the national conference going on virtually. So he's taken time out from the national conference to be here with us, and I really appreciate that. And certainly I appreciate his leadership on all issues of equity, inclusion, access for African American families and all underserved communities. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome Mark H. Morial, president of the National Urban League.
Thank you very much, Vivian. Good morning. It's great to be here, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for coming out this morning. Vivian and your team and all your partners. I appreciate the teamwork to make things happen. Now, everything that needs to be said this morning has already been said. But everyone that needs to amen it have not said amen. So I want to say amen to the mayor and to what Vivian has shared. And I want to say about Mayor Baraka, who I've had an opportunity to observe. A lot of mayors around the country today are talking the talk of equity. This mayor is walking the talk of equity in the policies that he's infused in his vision for the future of Newark. So let's give the mayor a round of applause, a great deal of respect for what he is doing. Vivian Cox Frazier is not a show horse, she's a workhorse. And she is a leader who knows how to both be a tree shaker and a jelly maker. And this morning, her tree shaking is making the jelly behind us. And that jelly is this house, this community asset, this place of safety and progress. I had the great opportunity to visit this house in the early days of its journey to renovation. And Vivian shared this vision that this house would be a place where people in the community, whether they are children and young people who want to do homework, families and mothers who are looking for jobs or work, or some people who are just interested in some personal time on the internet to either pay bills or do whatever, that this house would become that place. And today we are celebrating that. It's been said, but I underscore, having a phone is not enough.
Black people over-index on having a smartphone. Black people and Latinx people under-index when it comes to broadband in their home. This creates a place in a neighborhood near where people live, across the street from a school, that's friendly, accessible, and that people can come for free and connect to the internet. And there will be classes, there will be instructions. This is a model not only for this neighborhood and this city, but for us to do all across the nation. So, Vivian, I am so proud of the fact that your determination and hard work has brought us here today. And I want to thank all who've partnered with the Urban League of Essex County, because in many respects, we sometimes function as a conductor of an orchestra. We need others to help us carry out our 100-plus-year-old vision. So I want to thank each of you for that. I also want to highlight this morning this document, which is called the Lewis Latimer Plan for Digital Equity and Inclusion. My Jeopardy question for all of you today is, who was Lewis Latimer? Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison, great inventors, got a whole lot of credit. Lewis Latimer was in the trenches, a black man, the son of slaves, who was doing all the work. Lewis Latimer supervised the installation of streetlights in Montreal and New York and other communities. Lewis Latimer was side by side with Alexander Graham Bell and also with Thomas Edison. It was Lewis Latimer who wrote the first book, if you will, on incandescent lighting in the United States. This plan, which we've delivered to the Congress of the United States and to the President and his team, is a comprehensive plan to close the digital divide. It envisions strategies like the one behind me to bring high-speed, low-cost or no-cost internet into the community where people live. So I want to highlight the Lewis Latimer Plan, and I want to dedicate this ceremony today to the memory of Lewis Latimer, who did not get the credit he deserved, but who, like many, 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 many black men and women of that era, used their God-given talent, their creativity, to not only overcome, but to make great contributions, for which they never, ever got the monetary or the historic spotlight that they deserve. So again, thank you so much. Let's take a walk inside in a minute after we take some Q&A, but glad to be here today. Thank you to all of you for all of your hard work. God bless. Take some questions.
Yep. Come up. Yep. You want to take a question?
At this time, we'll take questions. Yes. Yes, sir. It's a question for the mayor. Okay. Yes.
So, Mayor, earlier this summer when you announced your two-year economic recovery plan, a lot of it focused on investment in the community. So how does this just kind of fall in line with that?
Well, I think it kind of covers two places here. One, Urban League is already partnered with us in many aspects in terms of developing in the community. If you go down the street, they just developed a multitude of houses down there for folks in the community to refurbish this entire neighborhood, which is incredible. And if you should take a ride down there and look at some of them homes that they've done in this community. Are great. To add a tech house here really puts an exclamation point on it, so people can have services in this community as well. But the other part that we did not talk about, that I tried to allude to, was that we're using the ARP dollars to begin to extend fiber into our community, directly into community, to provide broadband at no cost for some of the residents and at low cost for others throughout the community. Fairmount is one of the first neighborhoods that we're doing that in. We're going to do that in all of the housing projects in the city of Newark, to all of the Newark public school system. We're working on that as we speak to extend broadband throughout the city. Now I can go inside?
Yeah, put these goggles on. And so I'm gonna just exit out of this.
Man, look like you're an expert at this, man.
So it's the mayor sit down. So mayor, hold this stylus, and then you're gonna click on this. And now imagine they have 66 CTE courses, so you can do auto repair, you can do HVAC. Okay. So now.
So you can learn how to do that
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly, on here. So when you, put the dot on this, and then now click and hold on the white button. Oh, and this button here. You click and hold on this white button, and drop it in here, in that little thing. Just drop it down. Now watch this. Now heart's now you can aim the white dot on the heart, and then now click and hold down the white dot and turn your wrist. It rotates it, you can bring it to you, and then it gets bigger, so it looks like it's right there if you have 3D goggles.
That's pretty wild, man.